Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to my 10th Flosstube video. Today is Sunday, November the 3rd. Clocks changed back last night and so today is a little weird. I feel like I've been up for 100 hours already and it's really like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Time change really messes me up. I don't know about you guys, but when the clocks go back, I'm just a friggin' mess for a little while. Not that I'm not always a mess, but so it's been about a month since I've been here and I have an awful lot to share with you. I have, let's see, I've got finishes, I've got some crochet, I've got a couple of FFOs. I brought some of the pieces from our Edgar Allan Poe wall to share. I went to a retreat, and I've got a little bit of haul to share with you as well. I'll start off with a little life update. Football's over. We survived. Quentin survived. I survived. We all survived. I'm really happy that's over. Football is nerve-wracking. It's scary. I mean, there was a lot of kids that got hurt. You know, torn ACLs and all kinds of stuff. So I'm really glad that it's over. Quentin did have a very good time, and he told me he didn't want to play again next year, and then after the last game he told me he does want to play again next year. So we'll see how that goes. Quentin also had his homecoming dance, his first like big high school dance, and that was really cute. One of the moms in his friends group is a photographer, and so we went to this park and took all these pictures, and it was really sweet. The kids were all really cute. But other than that, he's doing pretty well. I'm alright, pretty normal, busy. I think this is the only weekend in the foreseeable future where I don't actually have anything going on, which is why I definitely wanted to get on here today and make this video. Aaron's well. He is out working one of his side jobs today. He's got, you know, regular customers here in town that call him for everything, so he's out installing some doors this afternoon for one of his customers. I guess that's about it. I'll talk more about the retreat later. I had my stitchy monthly meetup with my lovely ladies, and that was wonderful as always. Excuse me. It's chilly here in Maryland now. It's been very windy and cool. It's a beautiful day outside today. That's about it, I guess. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start with a little bit of crochet. I was having a really stressful day at work one day, and sometimes I have to go and take like mental breaks. I'll go and take like a walk for a little while, or sit outside on my phone for a minute, or you know, something just to like kind of recenter my brain and my day. And so on one of those occasions I was scrolling on Pinterest and I found a pattern for these little crochet pumpkins, and I was like, well, I'm gonna start crocheting pumpkins. And so I did. This is the first one that I made. They've got little cinnamon sticks, and I did that one, and I had so much fun that I just kept doing it and doing it. And every day I would take a new little pumpkin into work. It's a nice big one. I was just using up all of my scraps of yarn. I made a couple little ones, little teeny tiny ones. This is yarn from the shawl that I finished, so like 2 months ago maybe. This one is my favorite one. And this one. And all my coworkers really like them. I don't share a lot of my crafting self with them, and I don't really keep anything personal on my desk, so everybody really enjoyed these, and everybody liked seeing which pumpkin I would bring in every day, and everybody wanted one, but I was like, no. But this little pumpkin is extra special because this scrap of yarn means that I finished the shawl that I was working on. I started this shawl last year. It's called the Dragon Belly shawl, I think, by Miho Crochet. And while I love my finished product, I hated this yarn. It came from a box store, and I thought it's very pretty, but it was terrible to work with. So I will show you. I haven't finished weaving the ends or blocked it yet, but here it is. It's like browns and blacks and oranges, and I love it. So I'm probably gonna, when I'm finished with this video, I'm gonna block it and hopefully be wearing it sometime this week. So I'm very, very proud of that. I'm glad to have that completed. I have started a new one, the same shawl that I finished, the one from a couple, sorry, it's right hanging right there. The one that I finished a little bit ago, I'm making another one for my niece for Christmas, so I did get a little start on that. Okay. I hope everybody had fun if they participated in Dark October Stitching, which is run by Emily from Eclectic Possessions and Michelle from Cozy Egg. I told you before that I look forward to it all year. It's kind of like my mania, and I had an amazing time. This year I'm really happy with all of the stitching I got done. I got a couple of finishes, and I feel really good about those. So I'm going to get right into the stitching. All right, the first thing I worked on, I had started for Dark October Stitching 2017, and I don't have the pattern with me anymore. It's gone off to its new home, but it is Halloween Birthday by Kathy Barrick. I stitched it on a piece of 32 count something, and here's my finish. So this was the first thing I worked on. I definitely knew I wanted to get it done this year. I think the only changes I made was that the pumpkins were supposed to have like little faces on them, but I didn't want the little faces, so I didn't put them on there. But this was a lot of fun. All the black seems like it's going to be a lot to fill in, but it's really not that bad because there's so many other little motifs in there. I did have to, when I was doing the grass, I stitched half of it correctly and half of it incorrectly, so I did have to rip out a bunch of that and fix it. But there she is, all done. I believe I was working on this during the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch marathon weekend that happened in the beginning of October, but I got very busy unexpectedly that weekend, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So I stopped counting my hours, but this was, I think I finished it during that weekend too, actually. So there she is. She's gonna more than likely become a little pillow, but we'll see. The next thing that I worked on was Don't Forget Me by Fairy Wool in the Wood. You can find her on Etsy. I just have like a little black picture of it. But that was the next thing that I worked on, and I worked on that until it was finished, and actually yesterday I FFO'd it. So here it is. This was the frame that I showed you in my last video. This was the project that I thought that I would put in it, and I like it very much. And then this is another part of the pattern. I put a bee in there for Brenda, for my mom. But there it is. It was super quick, super fun. I just picked a bunch of colors from my stash, and there you go. This was fabric that I had dyed for Master and the Macabre, which I actually brought over to show you as well. So there it is. I like it with the little name tag. And that's gonna get hung up next to my stitching spot. I didn't bring the pattern over for this one. I'm not sure why. This piece I started last year for Dark October Stitching, and it is Sisters of the Broom by Not Forgotten Farm. And I can't remember what this fabric is. I know I stitched it in all of the called for DMC. Stormy Night, maybe? And it's 32 count. It's one of the printed fabrics. I think it's Stormy Night. I could be wrong, but I finished it. I was about halfway done when I picked it back up. So there it is, all done. I actually finished this right after I got to Stitch Fest. I thought I was going to finish it on my way up there, but we ended up having to take a weird detour, and the roads were really bumpy, and I was having a hard time stitching on it, so it's a little blown out. But this is beautiful. You know, I love Not Forgotten Farms designs, and this is no exception. So, love that. So while I was at retreat, I had practically a new start. I actually started it the night before just to kind of center myself on the pattern, so that I didn't like mess it. I didn't want to mess it up starting it at a retreat. And that is Quaker Gone Poe by Michelle Inc. Needlework Designs. And this is what it's to look like. Bit of a glare. Very cool. Again, to go up on my Poe wall over here. I'm stitching this on a piece of 38 count Delarna in Autumn Field. This is the project that Erin and I kitted up together at Needleworker's Delight from the New Jersey retreat. And these are the colors that I picked. Black Coral, Inky Dyes, Peak 1096 from Planet Earth Fibers. It's a 6-ply silk. It looks like this. Really pretty purple. It's not variegated, but this is very, very nice to work with. And then Merlot from Weeks Dye Works. Deep red. And I've been keeping all of this in my Martha Agnes sampler roll. I used it to finish Sisters of the Broom, and I've been keeping this project in here, all of the pieces for it. This was perfect for something that only has a few colors because it had the 3 rings that I put into it. And a very nice lady at retreat asked me if I was nervous about actually using it. She was like, what if you get something on it or whatever? And I'm like, well, what else am I going to do with it? You know, like, I stitched this, I made it, I'm using it, and I love it. And this piece has been so much fun to stitch. I had to force myself to put it down because I want to enjoy it for as long as possible. I'm not typically a process stitcher, I'm like a product stitcher. Like, I want to stitch things and have them finished and have them on my walls and enjoy them. But this I'm trying to slow down on because I love stitching on it so much. So I did get a page finish on it. I got the middle page done. Here's where it is. I love it. I love every single bit. I did whine a little bit about this. It was kind of boring when we were at retreat, but other than that, totally obsessed, totally love it. Cannot wait to get back to that. And this is a big piece of fabric. That's only half of it. I've got plenty more. I really am enjoying the 38 count. I really like the coverage of 1 strand over 2. Love it. Excuse me. All right, the next thing that I picked out was another Not Forgotten Farm piece, and this is Salem 1826. That's what it looks like. So something very strange happened with this piece. I picked a color out, a color in cotton, in Lava Stone, and when I picked the color out, I liked it because it was kind of like a blacky gray modeling, and I was stitching it, and I showed Aaron, and he was like, oh, I really love the blacks and the grays. So I was like, okay. Now that I'm like thinking back about it, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy because Aaron saw the same thing. And so I had done this top part here, and then I went to start the hand, and I had also been working on Salem Sisters, which I'll show next. And I grabbed a thread, and what I did do was I accidentally grabbed a purple strand from Salem Sisters. And I'd done like was like, wow, the variegation's like kind of weird on this one. And like I had done like a bunch of the outline of the hand because I was gonna go back and fill it in. I was like, that's weird, but okay. And then I like looked at what I was doing, and I was like, oh crap, I pulled the wrong color. But I had already gotten so far, and I stitched this over 1 on 32 count. And I was like, well, I guess it'll be a purple hand. And I like showed Aaron, and he was like, no, the purple looks great with the blacks and grays. And I was like, okay. So when I pulled this, so this was like all in my living room, you know, in the evenings, the light's on, my stitching light is on clearly, and I pull it out today, and this whole friggin' thing is purple, and I don't know how that is. I don't know. I even posted on Instagram like, oh, look at this, you know, I accidentally made this hand purple. But this color, let's see how it shows up here. I can't really tell how you're seeing it, but this, in the light of my living room, looks grays and blacks. Here it is purple. And here, no, see, I don't know. I think you can tell. I can't tell if you can tell or not. But in this room, in this light, in this sun, this whole thing is purple. So I don't know what kind of witchcraft Angela Cotton is using, because this is the second thread of hers that looks totally different. Like, I think it was like succulent or cactus or something that I showed on here, and I was like, that's so weird that you're seeing it green because it's not green in real life. Well, in some lights it was, in some lights it wasn't. Either way, I stitched this over 1 on 32 count straw, and I love it. Even that purple hand. All right, I have one more Dark October stitching project to show you, and I actually hadn't planned on working on this. I finished Salem Sisters 2 last year, I believe, but what was it? Oh, I guess I finished my shawl and I needed a project to do in the car. And this is on 18 count Ada, so I figured this would be a good one. So, Salem Sisters by Plum Street. Like I said, I finished the second one last year, and I'm doing them all in the same colors. I've got a couple of color and cottons, black. And this was the purple that I accidentally stitched that hand in, which I'm a little nervous. I was hoping to have enough of this to do all 3 of them in, but since I did that, I'm not sure if I can. I don't know if, I'm assuming this came from one of her Floss of the Month packs, so I'll have to see if I can maybe hunt down a skein somewhere. But I got pretty far on this. I worked on it in the car, and then I put on the Q-snaps for just a little bit, a couple of days, to finish out the month. And here's where it is. I don't know why I put it right there, but kind of a weird placement. I did the Vanna Pfeiffer bacon basted technique for all 3 of the pieces. So they're all on, I've got fabric for all 3 of these. The one I already did, this one, and then the third one. And then I wanted to do them all in the same floss colors as well, which may be a little bit difficult because the last one is like the tombstone, but I'll see what I can make work. Alright, so that was my Dark October stitching, and I loved it, and I had the best time. Those are like my favorite kinds of patterns, so that was great. I also had, I forgot to show you guys this when I finished it. Back when I finished the Summer Pomegranate pin keep, or the needle book and the little pin keep. I finished this too, and it's it's a little worse for the wear right now because my niece likes to climb on the chair where this sits, so I might have to redo it a little bit. But this was the Thistles and Spells, I think, from Stacey Nash pin keep. I finished it into a little pillow. with the same, this was the same fabric from the Color and Cotton Halloween box last year that I used on that needlebook and pinky. So this might need a little bit of zhuzhing, a little love. But I wanted to share that with you as well, because this was from Dark October stitching last year. All right. So I have 2 more things to show you, and both of them actually happen to be 2 brand new finishes in the last, well, today's the 3rd. So on the 1st, I was watching 2 Martini Stitcher, and she was showing her friend sampler, and I was like, oh man, my sister would absolutely love that. And she had named the shop where the pattern had come from, which is ANIM Cross Stitch, all one word, on Etsy. So I went to the shop to check it out, and there's some really cute stuff on there, and I of course had to send a link to my sister. I was like, look at this stuff, you should stitch it all. But she had this one little Harry Potter pattern. It's just a little backstitch pattern, and it was like $3, and it was so cute. And there are many a Harry Potter fan in my life, and so I stitched this for one of them. Look at it, isn't that sweet, the little wand? The color's kind of getting blown out here. I think this is an Ada. I'm not sure what the count is. But I thought that was super cute. $3, a couple of hours. Very happy friend, I'm thinking. So I stitched that. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to work on, so I put out a couple of options, and I was like, hey Aaron, what do you think? And he was like, well, I think you should finish this. And so actually this morning, like a few hours ago before I started this video, I finished this project. I didn't expect to finish it that fast. And that project is Lucy Nolan, Verses on the Death of Lucy Nolan by Pineberry Lane. I'm going to read you what the sampler says. It says, Verses on the Death of Lucy Nolan. First, alas, how changed that lovely flower, which bloomed and cheered my heart, far fleeting comfort of an hour, how soon we're called to part. Second, and shall my bleeding heart arraign the God whose ways are love, or vainly cherish anxious pain for her who rests above? Third, from adverse blasts and lowering storms her favorite soul he bore, and with yon bright angelic form she lives to die no more. Fourth, why should I vex my heart or fast? No more she'll visit me. My soul shall mount to her at last, and I her face shall see. And it says here that this verse is attributed to J.A. Knight, and it's found in a book of hymns published in 1806. This was typically sung at children's funerals and also appeared on tombstones dating from the early to mid-19th century. I stitched this on a piece of 32 count vintage Sahara, which I baked and basted, and I used my little bluebird from Extra Designs. Lovely. I love stitching with her flosses. I love her fabrics too, of course, but her flosses are very nice. And I only had the 4th verse to go. And so I did. I did it. It didn't take long at all. There's a couple strange things up at the top here. These are stitched over 3, which was very weird and hard for my brain to to like wrap around. And then a lot of it is over 1. And I am in love with this. I love it so much. I'm so happy it's done. I can't wait to have it up on the wall. I even think I know where it's going to go. Super happy, happy to have that done. In case anybody wants to stitch this and is interested, this My Little Bluebird is 8 meters. It took me 1 full skein and like just a little bit of a second one. So if you're using like an overdyed, you might want to get 2. All right, that's all my stitching that I have worked on. I don't know what I'm going to work on later tonight because I had not planned on finishing that so fast, so we'll see what's calling to me later. I do have a couple starts planned for November, but I will talk about them in just a little bit. So I guess to round out the Dark October stitching section of this video, like I said, I pulled down a couple of pieces that were up on the Edgar Allan Poe wall to share with you. One is this little tiny raven. It says Nevermore, AP. I stitched this over one on 28 count Monaco for Sal in a group that shall not be named. So there's that. Like I said, the weekend of the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch marathon weekend, my plans got all jumbled up. So every year, Quentin and Aaron go to this thing called Monster Mania Con. And there's like all kinds of celebrities from horror movies. This year it was Bruce Campbell and the twins from The Shining and Danny from The Shining and like a bunch of the people that were in the Scream movie. So there's that aspect. You can do like meet and greets and things like that. And then there's tons of vendors set up with all kinds of things. I actually forgot to bring one thing that I got there. I only got 2 things there. I could have gotten a lot more. We're big scary movie nerds, so but we did get one thing there from Jen M. Harding Art. That's what she is on Instagram. She's an amazing artist. Aaron and her connected through Instagram. He's got a Instagram page where he posts his artwork, and they follow each other, and they've been chatting. So when he heard that she was coming, we wanted to definitely go out and meet her, and she was so nice, so nice. And of course, we couldn't go and not get one of her pieces. So Poe, of course. This is the piece that we got from her. Aaron hooked up the frame. He's trying something new with these little like leather corners. Wants to mess around with that a little. So this hangs on that wall as well. And then Master and the Macabre. And this was so much fun to stitch. Even that moon, which might feel like it will never end, but I assure you, friends, it will. And I stitched this in a variety of DMC and overdyes from my collection. And the fabric is, I think, a 32 count. I don't remember, but it is one that I dyed myself. I was really happy with that fabric. I thought it came out really well. It's a little more purpley, I think, in real life. And then the piece de resistance from our Poe wall is Aaron's painted cross stitch that he did. So I'm gonna have to stand up and show this to you guys, because it's pretty big. Like it's definitely pretty big. So this is his painted cross stitch. He found, I don't remember where the pattern came from or which pattern he used, but he found a pattern of Edgar Allan Poe. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit so maybe you guys can see how he drew all of those lines onto this board and followed that pattern and painted this piece. And all of like the gray kind of modeling in the background is just from the pencil, just from his hand over the pencil. So this is like the centerpiece of that wall. And he's super proud of it, and I'm super proud of him for doing it, because this was clearly a labor of love. Even just, I wouldn't even have had the patience to draw the lines. I don't know. But, so there it is. All right. Hopefully I put it somewhere where a cat won't knock it down. Okay. So now, let's maybe get into the retreat. So I went to Stitch Fest in Herndon, Virginia, which is run by Stephanie of Miss Oh So Crafty and Katrina Boyd. And Katrina Boyd is lovely and hilarious and as great as everybody says she is. She brought her whole shop, and I went to retreat and didn't purchase a single thing. There was lots of things there that I liked, but nothing that I had to have, you know, so I didn't buy anything. But I got to meet and hug some amazing people. I kind of really tried this time to put myself out there a little bit more. I discussed in my video where I talked about the New Jersey retreat, about how crushing the anxiety can be when you go to something like this, and I just really wanted to kind of push myself outside of my normal comfort zone, and I think I definitely did better this time. The ladies that were at my table were all amazing. So there was Dina from Half Stitch Cross Stitch and Minnie Gray were at my table, and through watching these videos you kind of feel like you know these people, but the other women that were at my table were so warm and so welcoming, and it always takes me a little while to warm up, but as soon as I sat down I felt like I had known these ladies before. I even asked them, I was like, were you at like the Lancaster stitching group that I went to or something? And they weren't, but they were just that wonderful and kind, and everyone was so wonderful and kind. I didn't do it a lot, but I actually went up to some people and talked to them, which I wouldn't normally do. When my table left to go get dinner and I had already eaten, I went to the table behind me full of people that I know and love, and I said, can I sit here for a little while? And they said yes, and of course they said yes, like duh. But for me to even say that is a big deal for me. It might not be a big deal for many people, but for me that's hard for me to do. I always worry I'm a bother. So I know that might sound crazy, but that's how my anxiety works. And I just I needed that break and that time, and it was such good, fun, happy energy, and it was very low key, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful, and I don't know. This might sound dumb, but I felt like almost like stronger leaving it, just because I had made myself go and talk to people and step outside of my comfort zone, and it was an incredibly positive weekend with absolutely wonderful people. So yeah, that was really, really, really good. We did do a project bag exchange at that, and sweet Andrea of I Heart Cross Stitch, she got mine, and she said the nicest things about it. That was the first project bag I had ever made. I kind of did like the patchwork quilted top like I do for my grocery bags, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna make it. I don't I kept showing her, and I was like, I think I'm messing this up. But she was super happy with it, and that's all that matters, is that she loved it. So that was super cool. And in the project bag, you had to just kit up a little freebie pattern. It could be anything. And I got Emma from Stitching M's bag, and it's this little coffee bag, and with a vinyl front, and she put in, and it's You I Like, which is great. And she included these two gorgeous threads, and these are from, I'm not going to venture to pronounce the name of where they come from, but they're from Ingeborg's, I believe, LNS. So those were gorgeous. Speaking of Ingeborg, she gave every one of us a little shoe. Christina, who, another person that is just so warm and good, Christina made all of us little thread drops, which were great. So yes, the retreat was amazing. I already can't wait to go back next year. I'm hoping to try to make it to one of the DC Metro Stitchers all-day events. It's about 2 hours for me. It to get down there, so I might try to go to the one in January if the timing works out. I wanted to go to the last one, but it was the same weekend as my regular monthly group, and I couldn't be gone for 2 whole days. So, all right. I feel like I'm not giving justice to all the wonderful things that happened there, so please forgive me, and it was great. All right, so I'm very quickly going to go through what came in. Oh, we're transitioning to what came into the mail. What came in the Color and Cotton Halloween box. I did get the full-size box. I think this was actually the Harvest box. I got the Halloween box last year and I loved it, so of course this year I jumped on it. I feel like a lot of people have already showed this stuff, so I'm just going to go through it quickly. Oh, sorry, low power mode. This gorgeous silk. All of these beautiful flosses. Oh, there's a good purple hiding back there. Beautiful flosses. A little hand-poured thread conditioner. Needle minder. These cat snips. These are serious. These are heavy. I like these a lot. Cat snips. Buttons. Because we all always need more buttons. Candy corn. And then this little kit from Heart and Hand Design, Creeping It Round. And I really like the one on the back, Hocus Pocus Halloween. And this came with all of the floss to stitch it, the trim to finish it, and this piece of fabric. I got a 32 count, and it's called Cauldron Bubble. And my lighting's getting weird, so it's this really pretty green. So that's all very nice, and there was also another piece of fabric included, and this is Tombstone. And I'm feeling pretty sure this is gonna get washed out. That's a little washed out. It's a beautiful gray, a lot of gray. I like that an awful lot. All right, that's all that. My normal monthly things came. I guess I must have shown, I guess whenever it was I filmed last, my Color and Cotton floss must have come, because I didn't have it in my basket where I keep my stuff, so I must have shown that last time. But my Victorian motto did. Broomstick, Ocean Mist, Rustic Wood, I really like that. Golden Wheat, Berry Tart, which is a very pretty variegation, and Arbor Roses. And my very first Silks for You, Silk of the Month Club came, and holy heck, these are gorgeous. Let's see if I can pick them all up together. Like, wow. These are a little brighter than the colors that I normally stitch with, but I want to, like, these just are perfect together. They're so pretty, you know, like these beautiful peacock colors. So I'm not sure if I would maybe want to find something where they would all go in together or split them up. I don't know. But these were the September, and I think I said last time I wasn't sure, like, because it's not like something you like sign up for. You know, I just had randomly sent them an email like, hey, I'm interested, and they're like, we're getting ready to ship. Give us your info. But then I got another invoice, so I guess I did. It's gorgeous. I feel like I haven't shown this the last couple times. I have not, with, like I said before, with everything that was going on with football and everything being so crazy with quitting back to school, my crafting time had seriously decreased, so I have not been able to work on any embroidery lately, and it's just, they've been really calling my name, so I'm hoping to actually start a new piece very soon. I've got one picked out, but my Cozy Blue monthly club came. And this is like a crazy purple, here's all the floss, variegated flower, and I saw her finish of it, and it is going to be gorgeous. So that's on my list. We're almost at the end here, guys. I know it's getting a little long. My monthly color and cotton came, fabric came, and it was driftwood, a 32 count. Again, a little blown out. I really like this one a lot too. There's a couple different things that I could see putting on that. All right, that was all of my monthly things that I have received. Just a couple more things left here. I made another order with Abby from Top Knot Stitcher, and I got the Michelle Obama needle minder. I wanted this the first time I saw it, and then they were gone, I think, and then they came back, and I had to grab it because she is amazing. I read her autobiography earlier this year, and that was one of the most amazing books I think I've ever read. She's an amazing woman. And I got a pair of black storks from her. Only one thing off of Stash Unload, and that was from the Courtney collection, Celtic Alpha number 22, and it's just an alphabet, a really long alphabet, which I think is super cool. It's a little out of order, I guess. So I had been kitting up 2 projects, and most of the threads that I got for those projects came from Threads Entwined, but there was maybe 3, I think, that I couldn't get, and so I placed an order from Stitch and Frog. I need walnut from them, but I also grabbed Ellen Ford's work by Mary Wynn Farm. I believe, yeah, this was on sale, and it's all done in wool, and I really would like to try the wool flosses, so I thought this might be a nice one to do. It's not that big. Let's see, on 32 count, it's 5.81 inches by 8.32. So even though there is some pretty solid fill-in stitching, I thought this might be a nice one to try. I have another one of their patterns, and but it's massive. It's a massive sampler, and she just released a couple new ones too that are really, I'm very interested in. All right, so like I said, I had ordered from Threads Entwined. I wanted to kit up one project and finish kitting up another. And I don't remember if I had this in my last video or if this is something I've gotten since then, but I got Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower, of course. This is good stuff right here. And so I got all of the threads that are called for. I probably could do it from Stash, but I want this to look like that. So I got all of the threads, and I decided I'm going to put it on that Autumn Blessings fabric I got from Seraphim Fabrics. So I think that is going to be amazing. And then I also finally finished kitting up Cinnamon Stars. And I got this pattern a few years ago, and I've been slowly getting the flosses because the floss list is pretty extensive. And so I've been slowly doing it, and finally I just bit the bullet and I got the rest of them. So these are not all from Threads Entwined, but a bunch of them are. And I think I'm gonna do it on this 36 count sterling by Color and Cotton. You can't see that. It's fine, I think it'll look nice. So that I will be starting on nope, not October, that's done. November 17th, I think, with my new friend Melissa. I'm super excited to do that. We both have had this in our stash, and we're gonna be starting it together, and I can't wait. For the rest of the month, the only other thing I really have planned is a birthday start. My birthday is on the 9th, and I found this sampler, I don't know, way early this year, and it's the Agnes Eland Hick sampler. Authentic Reproduction, Canterbury Designs. This is an old, this is a pretty old leaflet. Let me see. 1988. And the colors are definitely 1988. So I will definitely be changing those colors. But I picked this because the date on it is November the 9th, which is my birthday. And it says, no room for mirth or trifling here, for worldly hope or worldly fear, if life so soon is gone, if now the judge is at the door, and all mankind must stand before the inexorable throne. So I've got that. I think I'm gonna stitch it on this 32 count old farmhouse. Fold it in this big piece. From Not Forgotten Farm. But I have not picked, it only calls for 3 colors. They used a green and like a mauvey pink and a light pink, so I've got to pick out 3 colors for that. I think that's it. I've got a mess here, and a mess here, and a mess here, so I guess that means I'm done. If you would like to, please come and visit with me on Instagram, where I am Wide-Eyed Stitching Child, and I hope everybody has had a fabulous month, and I know everybody's going to be crazy busy gearing up towards the end of the year, so I hope that you all have some moments of peace during that time, and quiet. And thank you everybody for coming to spend time with me. Love you. Bye.